Yahoo!
Hi, you're watching Yahoo Music, and I'm Mika. I love it here. This is my third time in Hong Kong, and I think every time I come, I discover something else. I like walking around. I like walking around the kind of all the noisy shops, and I call it Electric City at midnight, and there's a great energy here. Also, the shows are so much fun, so it's always a pleasure to come back. My second album is sonically darker, thematically a little bit darker. It's still just as kind of twisted in its weird euphoric approach to the way that I treat my subject matters. It's like I'll take all these stories, and some of them are quite dark, or some of them are quite odd, and I'll paint them into this world that's full of almost the bigness of the sound kind of represents the kind of comic book fantasy side. That's the way I like to tell stories, I guess. It's how I've been doing it from the very beginning. I think that I felt with the second album that there was something that needed to be addressed in order to balance things for myself as a songwriter and as a producer. And so I created something that would kind of take me to the next place. Now, as far as my third record is concerned, I would very clearly say that, don't expect a progression. I think expect a total overhaul of my sound, because that's the position that I've gotten myself into, thank God. I'm now free. I'm free from the first and the second record, and I can make whatever I want. It's pop. At the moment, the stuff I'm writing sounds like a weird cross between 90s pop music, the Cardigans, and the Carpenters. I've always been a fan of the TOFU-dolls. I think they have a great sense of sad humor. They look quite pathetic and sad, but they're very funny. And I was always a fan, and then, because I collect a lot of toys, and every time I come to Hong Kong, of course, I think Hong Kong is the best place in the world to find all these toys. And I did a photo shoot for Milk magazine where I held one of the TOFU-dolls like this, and they put it on the cover. So the Devil Robots, who are the designers of TOFU-doll, saw that a couple of weeks after it had come out in Hong Kong, and ever since then there was talk about doing something. And this was years ago. So finally the opportunity came up, and they were really into it, and it was partly done as a favor on their part, and I'm really honored to be morphed into something edible. The movie Kick-Ass had just been almost finished by the director Matthew Vaughn, and I get a call saying that Matthew Vaughn would like me to see this movie, and maybe I'd be interested in writing a song. So I get into the movie theater and I watch the movie just before it had come out, and they're like, "Do you like the movie?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." They were like, "Do you want to write a song?" I said, "I'll try." I know they had rejected a lot of other songs, so I was like, "Okay, here we go." And I was like, "How long do I have?" They said 2 days to write it and record it. And I knew that Red One at the time was in London. So I called him up and I said, "You know what, I have this idea for a song. There's this movie that's come up. We've never worked together. Should we just try and do something?" And he jumped on it. And it was fun. It was very fast. And it was really fun to work with somebody new, somebody who works so quickly as well, because I work quite slowly. So we complemented each other. And it turned out well. As far as being a superhero, I don't know which one I would be. I like the little girl that shoots everybody. I know that she offends a lot of people, especially parents, but I think she's really cool. I think it's so wrong in every way that it makes it so right. If I had to have a power, it would probably be stopping time. Because if you can stop time, you can steal anything in any shop that you come across. You can take vengeance on anybody by doing whatever you want to them and then starting time again. Taking off all their clothes and dumping them in the middle of, I don't know, a shopping mall, and then leaving them there. Or you could stop time when you're enjoying something. So I think stopping time is the best power that you could possibly have. If you live forever, you only get depressed, because you lose everybody. on this Asian tour, I think the funnest thing that I've done is after my show that I did in Seoul, they kicked us off the stage 5 minutes before the World Cup, this kind of South Korea match was on, and we watched it in the same arena, and they put down a huge movie screen, and thousands of people together in the middle of Seoul were watching this match, and I stayed and I watched it, and it was such a cool feeling, because it's so much better than watching it in a hotel room or in a restaurant. Watching it with 6,000, 7,000 people all screaming was really fun. I think that the funnest thing that I bought on this tour has to be my phone that I bought yesterday. I actually have it here. I bought this phone, and I have a fancy iPhone, but I've taken out the chip out of the iPhone and I've switched it to this, because it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Look at this. It makes funny noises. I don't even know how to work it. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? And it looks like a toy, but it's a phone. And I know everyone's going to laugh at me in London when I go, hello? Into all of that. I write songs from the perspective of an outsider. I write songs about people who are considered outsiders. I take the underdog, or I take the outsider, whether it's whatever kind of character it is, and I put that person or that character on some kind of throne, and I make them bigger than life. And when it came to writing the song Big Girls, I suppose I've always grown up with women who are big, because my mother's big, and my 3 aunts are big, and to me that was really normal. And I wrote it about them to begin with, and then it took on this whole other thing. And I guess it kind of goes along that line of taking this kind of concept of the big girl who I guess isn't the one that's always in the music videos, and flipping it around and making them the ones that are in the music videos. You don't see them exactly in a lot of rap videos. That's why I used to look at Missy Elliott and I used to think she's the coolest thing on television. She's the best dancer on television. And she's not exactly, tiny.